Salute to everybody in the building. Hit that like button as you come on in. Wow, what a night in boxing. I did not expect that fight to be as good as it was. Holy smokes. Fight of the year for sure, right? And one of the best fights in boxing, and definitely, arguably, the best fight on UK soil. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Hit that like button. Come on in. Chris Eubanks Jr. and Conor Benn put up a performance that was worthy of those gladiators from yesteryear. Absolute madness, pandemonium from the opening bell to the final bell. Wow. Good old fashioned, just going to war. They just went to war, right? But if we look at the fight a little bit deeper and hit that like button, come on in because we got to get right to it. Um, I, a lot of people didn't expect Chris Eubanks Jr. to have that much stamina, that much go in that fight. A lot of people expected Chris Eubanks Jr. just showing up for a paycheck, but Chris Eubanks Jr. showed the will. I would say the skill, but I'm gonna be honest. Chris Eubanks Jr. looked like he was an old man up in there. He looked like an old man. He showed shades of his former self towards the end of the fight where he started throwing the flurries, but it just wasn't the same, right? If this was a young Chris Eubanks Jr., he probably would have stopped Conor Benn within probably about 8, 9 rounds. But he's old now. He's not throwing the punches like he used to. But nonetheless, it was a great fight. Um, Conor Benn showed a lot of heart, a lot of dog, just a lot of will in that fight tonight. A lot of will in that fight. Hit that like button, come on in. Wow. I don't have any special effects today because I'm kind of out and about, but I had to see how this fight played out. And wow, Christian Banks Jr. got the unanimous decision as well, right? He got the straight, clean cut unanimous decision. Was it a clean cut unanimous decision? I thought the fight probably would have leaned more towards a draw, but Chris did the better work, I guess, right? The cleaner shots. Conor Benn was the more active fighter, of course. He was a younger guy. He threw the more punches, but and they both had good moments in the fight. And really, there was no loser in that fight, in my opinion. Really, nobody lost, but they gave it to Chris Eubanks Jr. Now we may proceed on with a possibly a rematch. Chris Eubanks Jr. probably can dictate more terms. He probably won't want to cut so much weight to go through all that again. Really, really good night of boxing. Salute the Dragon Leg in the building. Cyber Supreme TV, salute. Yes, Conor Benn is very tough. Conor Benn is a fucking dog, man. One thing we learned about Conor Benn today is that kid is a dog, right? He may not be the most polished fighter, right? But he got a lot of heart, a lot of dog, a lot of will. And I think he can still build up off this, even though he took an L today. I don't think he really necessarily took an L. I think it was a learning lesson. This kid can build up off this and, just he's tough. You know what I'm saying? He got to tighten some things up, you know what I'm saying? And kind of just continue to grow. Salute, Sonny Cheap. I see you in the building. Sirity, Comet. Salute. Yeah. Y'all smash the like button for your boy, man. Crazy, man. I didn't expect it to be that good. I thought Conor Benn was going to pull it off as well. Initially, I thought Conor Benn was going to get the job done just simply because Christian Banks Jr. is older and he was weight drained and he had a rehydration clause on him and everything. Nope. But one thing I think the reason why Christian Banks Jr. was probably able to really get through that fight the way he did is because his father showed up at the 11th hour. Yeah, that's right. Christian Banks Sr. showed up and he was in the building. He was in his son's corner for the biggest fight of his career. This was essentially Christian Banks Jr.'s biggest fight of his career, right? And his dad showed up for it. So that was pretty cool to see. And Christian Banks Jr., man, there was moments where you could tell he was just so fatigued, but something was pushing him. And Conor Benn had moments where he was so fatigued, something was pushing him. It was the rivalry, and their fathers was in the building. Their fathers fought, and that was pushing these dudes, man. All that shit was pushing these dudes. Them dudes was tired as hell. Anybody could have failed. One good shot, boom, somebody could have failed. That's what it looked like to me. It was that type of war for those who didn't see. Really good fight. Really, really good fight. Best fight I've seen this year. One of the best fights I've seen. I'm gonna go watch it again. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna go watch it again. Because it was action from the beginning to the end. You said Boychuk versus Virgil Ortiz was a better fight, but you said this had a better storyline and it was a big fight. Yeah, it did. It had a good storyline behind it. You know what I'm saying? It was a slugfest. It was a war. Chris Bank Jr. just didn't look like the same fighter though. If I'm honest, he didn't look like the same fighter. He showed shades of himself, like I said earlier, towards the end, but he looked like an old fighter in there. You know what I'm saying? He really looked old. And I think after this Conor Ben saga, I think once that's over with, he should go ahead and hang it up. But the fight definitely lived up to the hype for sure, 100%. Definitely lived up to the hype. Neither guy was gun shy. You know, it was a really good fight, man. Really, I mean, shit. It was just a really good fight from beginning to end. I didn't think Chris Eubank Jr. was gonna last that long, but he did. I thought he was gonna be fatigued as hell. And Conor Ben was able to take the shots, right? Conor Ben was able to take Chris Eubank Jr.'s shots because he rehydrated up to 169.4 before the weigh-ins today for him. Um, he didn't make the 70. He almost made 170. You know what I'm saying? They would have penalized him again. But he made it and he got through the fight. You said they were so biased towards Conor Ben. You said I'm salty Eubank won. Nah, man, I'm actually a Eubank fan, man. I don't know what you talking about. But I had no horse in this race, though. You know what I'm saying? It was a good fight. I'm glad Chris Eubank Jr. won. You know? So, yeah, Sky Sports probably don't like Chris Eubank, man. They probably didn't like his old man. They probably don't like him either. But the fight definitely lived up to all the hype. And depending on what happens after, right? Depending on what happens next, I would imagine Chris Eubanks Jr. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I would imagine it'll be retirement relatively soon. As far as Conor Ben, he got a long road ahead of him still. The welterweight division, the welterweight, however the British guys be saying the welterweight division. I don't even know if he might just stop at 54. You said Chris without the BS clause knocks him out. Probably, bro. Probably. They had to make it a kind of a somewhat of an even fight. So honestly, that kind of made it a more of an even fight, considering Conor Ben was a smaller guy, less experienced. So they kind of made it even, but it was bullshit because you damn near kill somebody doing all that. So I'm not a big fan of the rehydration clauses at all. If you can beat them, beat them. You know, Christian Banks Jr. probably was, if he wasn't rehydrated stipulated, he probably would have been a lot fresher. Even though he looked like he passed his prime. But he got a lot of heart. Both guys got a lot of heart. They showed a lot of heart in that fight. And that's why grudge matches is good. Fights like that, not just a fight, like a fight that got a meaning behind it. It's kind of built up. Always much, much, much better. You said Conor should chase Barrios. Barrios, I'm hearing Mario Barrios is getting Pacquiao, man. Be on the lookout for that. That's just a rumor, but be on the lookout for that. Pacquiao and Barrios. It's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? Pacquiao's kind of old. Onpo damn near kicked his ass. So, I mean, I don't expect Barrios. I don't know, man. Barrios didn't look good either in his last few fights. So, what's up, Reggie Bush? Salute. I can't get this thing off the screen right here, man. I don't know. Streaming, I'll be changing up stuff. You said a fight like that is great for boxing? Absolutely. That was a really good fight, man. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. A lot better. It was a battle of attrition. You know what I'm saying? Then it had a good story behind it. So we kind of knew it was a lot, even though there was no significant titles on the line, nothing like that. It was a lot of just a lot of everything else behind it. It was a really good fight for the UK, man. I know it's lit over there right now. I know that. I know it's lit over there right now. That was a lit fight. Neither guy looked like phenomenal or nothing like that. It was just a dog fight with boxing gloves. You know, so Christian Banks Jr. early on in the fight was working his jab a lot. You know, Conor Ben was hitting him behind the head quite a bit as well. Especially earlier in the fight, he was hitting him behind the head, rabbit punching and shit. You know, trying to rough him up. And then as the fight went on, Chris Eubanks Jr. started roughing him up. Few nice uppercuts from Chris Eubanks. Few good, nice right hands from Conor Ben. You know, moments where it looked like it stunned Chris Eubanks. Maybe he was playing possum, or that's kind of how he does it. Whatever he be doing in the ring. But it was a good fight, man. It was a really good fight. I'm definitely gonna be watching that shit again later. Go watch that again with some popcorn or something. Because that was a classic for sure. Definitely a classic. Best fight of 2025 so far. You said what was the technique? Yeah, I know, man. It was a dog fight, man. When dudes that tired like that, and was that much emotion involved, and dudes that fatigued and shit. You got the smaller guy fighting at a weight he ain't really, supposed to be at. Then you got an older fighter who's rehydrated and stipulated. Man, them dudes, that was all heart tonight, bro. Fuck technique today. You know what I'm saying? We say that for another day. Today was all heart, all dog. And boxing needs that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We need these dog fights, these wars. You know what I'm saying? These were some warriors today. What's up, Demonte Walker? Salute. Cyber Supreme. Jay Tonic, salute. I want to see Conor Ben fight a lot of guys, though, man. He has a really fun style. That kid brings it. You know what I'm saying? Conor Ben would be fun to see him against anybody at 47. A lot of guys at 54. Not to say he's going to win those fights, because, Christian Banks Jr., let's be honest, he's past his prime. But Conor Ben, he's a fun fighter. Like he brings it. You said, do I think he will beat Boots? Uh, do I think he'll beat Boots? No, 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 hell no. No, hell no. I don't even know what I'm thinking. No. No, Boots stops him. Boots is the sharp. Boots is sharp. You know what I'm saying? Chris Eubanks Jr. never was the sharpest fighter. Um, but even tonight he wasn't. Boots Ennis is a sharp fighter. Conor Benn began here with a lot of shots he won't see. Because Conor Benn gets really sloppy. He gets sloppy in there. But I mean, Some fans may not like that style of fighting. Some fans may be more into the the sweet science, and I like it all, so it don't matter to me. But yeah, this was a fun fight, man. A blood boiler. That's what this was. Conor got a shit ton of heart, dude. That's what we learned about that kid. He got a lot of heart. He got some good stamina and shit. Well, he got tired in the fight, but that was considering how many punches they was throwing, though. You know what I'm saying? They was throwing punches like every second of every. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like they was sitting there just staring at each other. Nah, hell no. It was a punches thrown. Soon as that bell rang, they ran right at each other every round. Like they threw a shit. It was a shit ton of punches thrown by middleweight fighters. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they gonna be fucking tired, bro. Really good fight, man. Classic. That was a classic right there. That was a classic for sure. Back and forth. But Christian Bank Jr. pulled through in the end. He started winning the later rounds. He turned into the old Christian Bank. He stopped trying to box and he just started throwing them flurries. And I think his work rate, and his pressure towards the end won him that fight. Like he started really pressuring Conor Benn. Salute Breezy. I see you in the building. Yeah, man. I thought Conor Benn was gonna get it, man. I'm more of a fan of Chris Eubanks Jr. Always been a fan, but I just like, man, he's weight trained and all this shit. And I think Conor Benn just might get him because he go outwork him or something. But nah, hell nah. Chris was in that fight the whole time. He wasn't gonna lay down for nothing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought Ben was go get him, dog. You know what I'm saying? I just thought he was gonna get him. And I was wrong. Chris Eubanks Jr. pulled through on that shit, bro. I was impressed. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I know this. I know the circumstances of the fight, not just the dude just tuning in. I know that this fighter was damn near, um, deleted himself to make this fight happen. Came down to 160 at 35 years old. He haven't made that was the way he was fighting that when he was in his 20s. So yeah, I didn't think he was gonna have that kind of output or even have that type of just yeah, he had like it was a lot of will. You said Chris beat him with experience. Yeah, he did. Yeah, his experience really started to show towards the end, towards the middle end of the fight. Like it's just once Conor really started to slow down, Chris Eubanks Jr. experience kicked in. He was doing a lot of little things, a lot of little things that come with experience. That Conor Ben just wasn't able to really get around. That was a really good fight, man. Yeah, the Spence Crawford reaction. I was, at the crib and all that. I was already perfect set up. This fight came on at a weird time. I'm kind of out and about, so it's kind of different. Y'all smash the like button for your boy, man. Chris Eubanks Jr. defeats Conor the Destroyer Ben in a throwback classic. That fight was a classic for sure. Absolute classic. It was definitely one of the fights that people gonna be talking about. They definitely lived up to their fathers. Um, you know, they lived up to that shit for sure with this fight. If they go fight again, I don't think Chris Eubanks Jr. should be so weight trained. But then that'll probably be even more of a disadvantage for Conor Ben. So I don't know. I don't know. We gonna see what happens with this fight. I think it might be over. They may have to do it again because it's such a big fight for the UK. But yeah, you guys, that's the video. Wasn't planning on being too long because I'm kind of out and about, but we got some fights coming up next week actually. So yeah, we got some fights, Inoue fights next week, I believe, right? And then we got the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, TFMO card. That's gonna be good as well. So yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben put up an absolute classic today. One of the fights is probably gonna be remembered, definitely in the UK boxing history for sure. Um, there's really no loser in the fight, in my opinion, but Christian Bank Jr. was able to get the unanimous decision. So salute to everybody in the building. Thank you guys for stopping in. Make sure you smash that like button and catching the replay. Catch you guys on the next one. Love you, Mom. Peace out.